Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In the previous episode, I shared some tips and tricks that can help you carve your resume from good to a great format. I also shared some do's and don'ts in your resumes that you should be focusing on in your resume building journey. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I'm sharing a link for you here. Please make sure you watch that video before coming to this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button below. You can also click on the notifications icon so that you don't miss out on future such content. Alright, so let's get started with defining your skill sets, which is the most crucial activity in your resume building journey. Oftentimes, we just want to jump into the conclusion and start drafting our resumes. But I would recommend before you start drafting your resumes, do a blank paper activity where you can define your skill sets that you have acquired so far. And once you've done that, make sure you bucket those into two parts. The first one is your interpersonal skills, and the second one is technical skills. And I have shared some adjectives that you can add along with your interpersonal skills and your technical skills. These would help you get a little bit of higher chances to get shortlisted through the ATS system. The second part about your resumes is once you have actually defined your qualities, you would be starting to add different sections of your resume. Starts with the summary, your work experience, your project experience, or any volunteer experience that you have, then hovering towards your extracurricular activities, awards, certifications that you have accomplished so far, right? And this is not the most difficult part of your resume building activity. But where do you actually fail is structuring your thoughts. You really need to add short bullet points, and this is where most of us struggle is how can we represent ourselves in a short and concise manner, but yet we are able to convey everything that we want to share about ourselves to the recruiters. This is where I'm going to share some examples with you. I'm going to share some frameworks with you that can help you represent yourself better. That's not all. I have some bonus content towards the end, so make sure you stick through the end of this video to make the most out of it. The first part of your resume building sections is summary. This is where you need to be honest and realistic. Remember, your recruiters look at thousands of applications and it's very easy for them to recognize who have actually overhyped about themselves and who have actually used some AI tools to represent themselves in a summary. And hence, please try to make it short, realistic, and honest about the skill sets that you've acquired so far and your professional ambitions in the future. The second part is your professional experience. Now, this is where most of the recruiters spend most of their time. You need to start adding your experience from the most recent experience, advancing towards your oldest experience. Once you've defined your experience, start quantifying your accomplishments. So you need to start rewording your accomplishments in a quantified manner so that you can actually show what you have accomplished in the amount of time you have spent on that given project. Please remember that you need to focus on your accomplishments in that project and not the organization's accomplishments and not the project's accomplishments. So, for example, if I worked on building a mobile application for a company, I wouldn't say that the application has reached 10,000 users in 3 months of time. If I were applying for a software developer role and I am showing my software developer experience, I would say I implemented 4 pages of the mobile application using Flutter technology, and I was able to reduce the time of moving from one screen to another by less than 10 seconds by actually optimizing my code or using some technologies that can help bring a faster experience. And if you work with a startup, there's no harm adding a line about it if specifically if the startup is not well known. That gives a reflection to the recruiter more about the companies you've worked in the past. There comes structuring your bullet points. Now, this is the most trickiest part because in just 5 to 6 words, you need to add about your accomplishments. You need to add more about the work that you've done. And this is where most of us struggle, including myself, is how can we represent ourselves in a short and concise manner? I would suggest firstly, just focus on what are the most important things that you want to tell your recruiter or your interviewer. Second is avoid full stops. In just one sentence, you're communicating everything, which is not a story. It's actually your accomplishments or your work's reflection. You can use semicolons if need be. Towards the bottom of the screen, I have shared an example for your summary on how you can structure your summary. In case you want to take reference of this, feel free to pause this video and take inspiration from. The second part of structuring your bullet points is express ideas. Don't tell stories. Don't add sentences. Avoid words like the, and if you're talking about any financial currency, use universally spoken terms and technologies like the USD. Some same things applies for any jargons or short forms unless they are universal acronyms. Avoid those and use semicolons wherever need be. Avoid passive language. You can always use AI tools for this particular section to convert your sentences from a passive voice format to an active voice format, and avoid representative qualifiers like look, such as example. You have to be very precise about telling your story to your recruiter, yet you need to use bullet points and you have to tell everything that you want to focus the recruiter to know more about you. Now, there comes the most underrated section of your resume is your personal interests. We may add boring qualities like swimming, reading, but if you were able to communicate a little bit more about your swimming experience in a way, for example, I swam 2 miles in 10 minutes of time, and that was my latest accomplishment. That shows that you're not just taking interest in your hobbies, but it also shows you're able to communicate yourself better, which is a plus point or a cherry on the cake after you've done all the hard work, right from adding a nice summary for yourself, describing your work accomplishments, your volunteer experience, awards, so on and so forth. Now, remember at the start of the video, I mentioned that I'll be sharing some brownie content for you. Here is what I wanted to share, which is a general advice for everyone who are watching this video. Your job hunt journey is not at all supposed to be stressful. For those who haven't cracked any interview opportunity so far, you might be worried if at all you will make a cut in the industry. But remember, as long as you have clarity of thoughts, the world is yours. Start with bucketing your skill sets, the qualities that you have acquired so far. The second one is assess what different companies are trying to look for while they are hiring candidates with your experience. You can actually go to the company's website, stroll through to understand what are those skill sets that they are looking for a particular candidate with your experience, and then actually try to create a match from what skill sets you have and what the company is asking for. If you see some gaps in the skill sets that you have, there's no harm in actually acquiring those skill sets. If you see that you have more skill sets than what the company is asking for, you already have higher chances of getting shortlisted. But remember, you need to tailor your resumes based on the job application. Just because it's a front end application developer role, don't stick your resumes with your software developer resume that you have created for some other companies. 80% of applications are rejected because they are not tailored to the particular job role. And hence, please build your resumes in a way that it actually creates a perfect match for a particular job role. I hope you found this video helpful and interesting. If so, please don't hesitate adding a comment in the comment section below. That will definitely motivate me to bring more such content for you in the future. Until next week, take care and bye bye.